What did I get at Quiltcon? Quiltcon has a beautiful vendor hall where you get to meet the owners, see new products, and take items for a test drive. And when I got home, everyone asked me, what did I find? Well, stick with me and I'll show you what I found. Hi, I'm Karen Brown of Just Get It Done Quilts. I give you tips, tricks, and strategies to help you make the quilt that you want to make. And if you like what you see, please click that subscribe button. If you're like me and choose to fly to Quiltcon, if you are taking a workshop, it can be a lot easier to buy some of your supplies at Quiltcon than lug them on the plane. For my matchstick quilting class with Cassandra Beaver, I needed a heavier 12-weight thread. So I stopped by the WONDERFIL booth and picked up some spaghetti, that's the name of their 12-weight thread, in my colors turquoise and orange. Vendors know their stuff. They can advise you on how best to use their products. And sometimes you can even sit down and try them out. So to use this thread, I needed a larger needle to accommodate the extra thickness, and I just love the result. I have been quilting for over 15 years. I have a lot of tools, fabric, and quilting stuff in my sewing space already. So my main objective in the vendor hall is to find new and different. SEWTITES are magnets that you can often use in place of pins. And I have been using them in my English paper piecing for a while. But I didn't know about SEWTITES MAGNUM. These wide magnets are for your long arm. They come in this tin in a set of 20, and for my 10-foot frame, I need 2 sets. You can just use the magnet in the metal piece on both sides of the fabric to hold your leader to your backing. But you can also sew the metal pieces into the leader and then attach your back. And that's what I did. I'm pretty excited to give these a go because I always poke myself with pins no matter how careful and slowly I load my backing. When I moved my main set out of my bedroom, I wanted the new space to be a comfy, quiet spot where I could just relax. Maybe do some hand sewing and listen to an audiobook. So I wanted to surround myself with nice things that made me feel special. And this handsome sew caddy was just what I was looking for. It's by Shaker Sawdust out of Tennessee, and it comes with magnets in the handle to hold your snips and your needles. The tray is large enough to hold my English paper piecing and labels, and it's easy to carry so I can take it into other parts of my home too. I chose this orangey stain, which matches my space perfectly. It might make a nice Mother's Day gift for anyone who's thinking along those lines. Do you like binding? I know so many quilters that just hate this step. Personally, I never make bias binding because it's just too fussy for me and I don't like the wastage. So I was pleasantly surprised to find the BESSIE Pearl Binding Company. And not just because the owner's name is Karen. They sell all sorts of ready-made bias tape and quilting binding by the yard. And if you're like me, who can't wait to get this final step of the quilt out of the way, having some pre-made binding on hand will make life easier. And for those of you who don't like mitered corners, you can skip that step with bias binding. Just take a template and round your corners. Then sew your binding on in one long strip. And the stretch in the bias binding will do the work of the corners for you. You can order just what you need for a project, but I prefer to grab a basic stripe like this one in quantity and then use it when and where I need it. And when I run out, I will order another roll and attach any leftovers from the first to that one so I have no scraps. I also like that Karen named her company for her grandmothers, Bessie and Pearl, who were both makers. I like wool mats, but they let the steam through. And that steam can damage your counter, your cutting mat, or any surface that's underneath. And if you don't let that steam evaporate, it can lead to mold. I found this mat by IRONMATIK that was designed to prevent this. It has 7 layers that make a nice crackle as you unwrap it. It's wide enough to do a fat quarter or a jelly roll strip or a shirt. I found the mat really poofy when I unwrapped it, but I just spritzed it with some water to shrink the top cotton layer, and now it lies nice and flat. My pack came with the steaming glove, which is really just a small pad with a finger hook. But I found it was great just to use as a small ironing pad, and I can fold everything up and tuck it away when I'm not using it. Now, this company didn't actually have a booth at Quiltcon. I met the custom quilt template owners, Eve and Kristen, through a friend, and they had some samples to share. These ones are applique templates, and my friends and I are using them to cut out scraps to make applique blocks for a sewing bee. We are mixing and matching them just to have fun and see what happens. What I really like about them is this board that they come on. So when you're not using your templates, you have a place to store them, and this can tuck nice and flat on your bookshelf. You can order from their existing templates or ask for something custom. If you had a shopping bag on your registration card, then you were a lucky recipient of the Quiltcon goodie bag. Not only did you get the collectible bag, great for keeping projects in or gifting quilts in, but there's a lot of interesting stuff inside. Quiltcon is sponsored by many vendors, and I appreciate their support. Quiltcon is also about reaching out and meeting people. So I came home with a ton of new contacts and a potential guest list for Karen's Quilt Circle. If you took part in my last Q&A, then you'll also know that I met my new VA, Kendall McCullum, there. I met Kendall at the Canadian meetup, and turns out she just lives north of me. Not only is she a quilter, she has a business being a manager for makers, and I am so looking forward to working with her. This video is not sponsored, but if you're interested in any of these vendors, I'll leave a link in the notes below. I have already booked my room for next year's Quiltcon in Raleigh, North Carolina. If you have missed my Quiltcon series, I'll leave a link to that playlist here. And with the weather getting hotter, you might be venturing out more. So I'll leave a list to my Sew on the Go playlist as well. Take care, and I'll see you next time.